some feedings here soon. Let some people roll up in here. Then we'll do a few feedings. What's going on, Ethan? Yeah, we're gonna feed some animals here tonight, mainly snakes, but I'm gonna give these guys some super worms. Once they realize it, they'll start nailing them. What up, Keon? Good to see y'all. Everybody smash that like button, please. But I'm letting people roll in. We'll watch the geckos eat while people roll in. Once some people get on in here, we'll start feeding a few snakes. There is going to be some live feedings. Just, I want everybody aware, that there will be live feedings. But we got a handful of rattlesnakes to feed tonight. We got, oh Jesus, we got a couple Insularises. We've got some Purple Max. We got just a few different things we want to go ahead and try to feed tonight. They settling in pretty good, brother. They still in their quarantine tubs right now, but they settling in all right. They chilling. What up, Ashley? What up? What's up, E2 Extra? I didn't see Zum, but if he's in here, what's up, Zum? Oh, there you go. I see you. What up, brother? Probably resting on his feet. Probably resting on the fucking feet. Them geckos fucking them worms up. Yep, there they go. Yeah, they tearing them up now. Oh yeah, Cleveland sucks. Cleveland definitely sucks. I can show the new snakes tonight. Sure. It'll be a little later. We show the new ones, but yeah, definitely. But we're gonna do a couple feedings. Maybe we can even try to feed the new ones. See if they're willing to eat anything yet. They might still be a little too stressed out settling into their new environment, but it'll be all right. Hey guys, smash that like button. Anybody that hadn't done it already, hit that like button. we're starting to get a few people in here now. So once we get a couple more in here, we'll go ahead and start feeding snakes. I just put the geckos on, you know, and let them eat some worms here while we waited to start getting a few people in. But we'll move on to feeding like I say, we're going to feed a handful of rattlesnakes, you know, maybe we'll feed a couple cobras or something, a couple insularises, maybe the purple max. You know, I don't know exactly what all we'll feed, but definitely a bunch of rattlesnakes. I got a feller from another channel over there that I check out from time to time. The man does ball pythons. His whole channel name, let me look to see. I don't want to get it wrong. It's Patrick, but let me see what his whole channel name is here quick. That way, if y'all are interested in checking his out, you know, I recommend checking him out. You know, he's a good dude. It is snake_man_Pat. Snake_man_Pat. But he got some ball pythons over there, you know. I don't know how long he's been in the hobby for or nothing, you know, but he'll hold his ball pythons, talk about them a little. I don't know if he shows his feedings on live stream or not. I ain't caught a feeding stream on him yet. But good dude, you know, check him out. What up, Iron Sword? But yeah, so anyway, there's a guy from over there at Pat's. He's a moderator. It's called Reptile Dysfunction. He asked me about a specific rattlesnake, you know, so I'm going to go ahead and feed one of them so he can take a look at that. And whatever. So it shouldn't be long, you know. We'll give this, you know, like I say, we've only been up for about 6 minutes so far. We'll give it another 5 minutes here, you know, see if anybody else is going to drop in, and you know, and then we'll move on to feeding. I guess we'll start with feeding I don't know, maybe we'll start feeding the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake or something. It's a juvenile. We got some Atrox to feed. We got some Massasaugas to feed, some rock rattlesnakes. We got some Viridis. Fucking, man, I don't even know what all. We got a bunch of shit to feed, so. Trickle in, trickle in. Hell yeah. I ain't seen Sue and Tom yet. What up, Cayman? How are you, brother? You sent it out to everyone. All right, good deal, good deal. Hopefully a few of them will stop by and, you know, drop a like, some comments, try to get this show back on the road. I took a little break from this channel for, you know, about a week and a half or so. And whatever. So we'll see how it goes, see if things kick back up, you know. But like I say, we got a handful in here right now. Couple more minutes. We'll go on to feeding something. We got about 3 minutes left, and then we'll move over to feeding some snakes. Like I said, there is going to be some live feedings. A few of these snakes will not take frozen thawed or pre-kill, so we have to feed live with some of these snakes. So if live feedings is not your thing, just, you know, heed the warning and, you know, turn your head. I hope you stick around, though, but if you don't, I understand completely. What up, Silent Knights? Thanks for dropping in. Smash that like button for us, please. Anybody who hasn't hit that like button yet, please smash that like button. It's the only thing that helps boost this algorithm and get this out there to more people. And then after we do the feedings, I got a little something for Art over there. A little something for Queertus. Yeah, some leopard geckos. think there, what is there? Yeah, there's 4 of them there. 4 leopard geckos. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 4 of them I put in here to eat. So I gave them about 70 super worms. So at least they say they're super worms. They look like mealworms to me, but when I bought them, they said super worms. But either way, that's all right. They're smashing them anyway. So leopard geckos are a very good starter reptile for people. Anybody that, has ever thought about getting into the reptile hobby, but was kind of unsure what to go with, want something that's a little bit of easy maintenance, easy to care for. The leopard gecko is extremely easy to care for, not nothing challenging about them. You basically set them and forget them. As long as you feed them and water them and shit, they're like a pet rock. They're probably the only thing easier than a ball python. You got a couple leopard geckos too? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Super easy to care for. You're right, Ashley. Super easy. But so, for people who don't know exactly what these are, some of you do, I know some of you don't, but I'll talk about them. They're like I said, they're a small but fascinating reptile, the leopard gecko. At first glance, leopard geckos may not look very exciting. They're only about 8 to 10 inches long when they're full grown. They don't roar, they don't breathe fire, and they spend a lot of the time hiding. But once you learn more about them, you'll see why they're one of the most popular pet reptiles in the world, and why they're such an interesting species. Leopard geckos come from, dry, rocky regions of like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and even parts of India. Unlike many reptiles that, live in the jungles or rainforests, leopard geckos, they're adapted to the deserts and semi-arid environments. Because of this, they don't need a lot of humidity and actually prefer, warm, dry conditions. This natural background, if you will, helps explain, many of their behaviors and care needs. One of the first things people notice about leopard is their appearance. They're, typically what you're seeing here, yellow or tan with black spots, and that's how they got their name, because they resemble a leopard. However, thanks to, selective breeding, there's many different color patterns now, and that's known as morphs. You got everything from orange, white, even purple tinted geckos. No 2 leopard geckos look exactly the same. They're all different. Another unique feature is their tail. Leopard geckos store fat in their tails, which they use as energy when food is scarce. If a leopard gecko feels threatened, it can drop its tail to distract predators. It sounds extreme, but the tail can grow back over time. Although, if this happens, they never look the same as the original tail. Leopard geckos are different from most geckos, and it's kind of crazy, why they're different, but leopard geckos have eyelids. It's weird, but leopard geckos can blink just like we do, it makes them especially interesting to like look at and just, up close, when it comes to behavior, leopard geckos are nocturnal. That means that they're active at nighttime. During the day, they usually hide under rocks or in burrows to stay cool and safe. At nighttime, they come out to hunt, insects like crickets, mealworms, roaches, and in captivity, they're insectivores and should never be fed stuff like fruits or vegetables, only insects. A reason that leopard geckos are so popular as pets is because they're very gentle. They have an excellent temperament. They're calm. They're easy to handle. They rarely bite, and if they do, it feels like a piece of Velcro touched you. You know, it just makes them a great choice for beginners or for people who are new to reptiles. You know, with proper care, leopard geckos can live a surprisingly long time. These guys can live 15, 20 freaking years in captivity. Even longer has been documented. Um, Caring for leopard geckos does require a little responsibility. You know, they need a warm environment, you know, with a temperature gradient, you know, meaning, you know, one side of their enclosure has to be warm, the other side has to be cool. It sort of allows them to regulate their body temperature. Um, and they do require proper lighting, you know, clean water, you know, and calcium for strong bones. A real common way to get these vitamins into the gecko is to gut load the insects. Essentially, you take some mealworms, some superworms, some crickets, whatever, and you feed them stuff like, you know, oranges and stuff for vitamin C, you know, maybe, you know, whatever, different fruits and stuff. And the guts of the insects get loaded up with that stuff, and then the leopard gecko eats it and they get their nutrients and vitamins that way. So, and yeah, actually, you're right. The tails do not look the same anymore after that. Yep. It always looks different. It's crazy how it works, but it never looks normal again. But guys, really, you know, leopard geckos can really thrive in captivity, you know, and beyond being leopard geckos are important, you know, for education and research. You know, they help people learn about reptiles, they help learn about ecosystems and responsible animal care. You know, for a lot of people, leopard geckos is the first experience caring for an exotic animal, you know. And that can inspire a lifelong interest in biology or wildlife conservation, or maybe, you know, so I guess in conclusion to what I'm saying, you know, leopard geckos are small, but they're incredibly interesting animals. You know, their unique adaptations, calm nature, and long lifespan just makes them stand out among reptiles. You know, whether you see them as pets, you know, study animals, or simply fascinating creatures, leopard geckos remind us that even the smallest animals can be amazing when we take the time to learn about them. So, guys, I hope you've you know, enjoyed taking a look at these leopard geckos. And you know, as I said, we are going to do some feedings with some of the snakes here. And the first snake I think we're going to take a look at is let me see here. Which one do I want to do first? I think we'll look at the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake. So I'm going to move the camera over here to the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake, which is this guy right here. This is a juvenile specimen. We are going to feed this guy. And guys, before I start working with the venomous animals, I always like to say a short little prayer in the beginning. So if y'all don't mind, let's stay silent in the chat for just a minute while I say this prayer, and then we will move on to feeding these guys. So, Heavenly Father, we thank you for the beauty and diversity of the natural world. Help us to learn with humility, to replace fear with understanding, and to respect every living creature as part of your creation. May our time together today, you know, deepen our knowledge and guide us towards wisdom and stewardship. And may you keep the pointy end of these animals away from me while feeding. Amen. But there you go, guys. You can commence on the chat. And I appreciate y'all taking a second there to listen to that. And, you know, when a lot of people hear the word rattlesnake, you know, their first reaction is fear. You know, they imagine danger, aggression, and, you know, deadly venom often come to mind. But today, you know, I invite you to pause, you know, kind of take a step back, look a little more closely, because the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake is not just a symbol of danger, you know, it's just a remarkable, misunderstood, and essential part of the ecosystem. The Mexican West Coast rattlesnake is scientifically known as Crotalus basiliscus. It's one of the largest rattlesnake species in the world. It inhabits the western regions of Mexico, particularly along the Pacific coastal plains. Now, the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake is, the second largest in the world, with the eastern diamondback being the largest. But they really inhabit the dry forest, the thorn scrubs and the foothills. And I'm going to go ahead and put a rodent in here. This is a live rodent. I want everybody aware that this is a live rodent. It will be a live feeding. If you do not wish to see a live feeding, please turn your head for just a little while, and whatever. But I want you to be warned of that. I am sorry that it has to go this way, but certain ones of these animals will not eat frozen thawed. So sometimes we have no choice. It's the cycle of life, and that's just how it goes. Some people are very sensitive to live feedings and don't like it and really take offense to it. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. But we will drop that rodent in there. Normally, I will hold it for the snake, but that rodent being live, he will, move around enough that rattlesnake will catch his attention and will strike. It will not take long. Every now and then, a snake will refuse. Being wintertime, it is for most Crotalus species, being wintertime, a lot of them do brumate, which is essentially a light form of hibernation. So some of these snakes shut down in the wintertime and will refuse to eat, but some of them, and most of them, continue to eat in captivity. But we will see what happens with this guy here. I haven't tried to feed him in about 3 weeks now, maybe a little closer to a month. This snake here has adapted to, a very challenging environment. It's very, of heat, basically. It's a seasonal drought, and changing landscapes. They're a survival story, of precision, balance, and resilience. First, I want to talk about what makes this rattlesnake unique. The Mexican West Coast rattlesnake can grow to impressive lengths, a lot of the times exceeding 6 feet. Their body is thick and muscular, designed for strength rather than speed. Their coloration, the shades of brown and olive and gray with darker diamond-shaped patterns, just provides excellent camouflage, against the rocky ground and dry vegetation. The camouflage is not just for hunting. It's also a defense strategy. It helps the snake avoid unnecessary conflict. And then, of course, there's the rattle. Contrary to popular belief, the rattle is not a sign of aggression. It's a warning system. The snake doesn't want to bite humans or large animals. Biting uses precious venom. That just snakes need that to hunt and survive. And it's very, very taxing on the snake to produce more venom. So when a rattlesnake, rattles, it's saying, I'm here, please keep your distance. In many ways, it's one of the, nature's most polite defense mechanisms. Venom, of course, is what rattlesnakes are most known for. The venom of the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake is primarily hemotoxic. That means that it affects blood and tissue. The venom is highly effective for subduing prey such as rodents and small mammals, but it's important to remember that rattlesnakes do not hunt humans. Almost all snake bites occur when people accidentally step on, disturb or attempt to kill a snake. In fact, the rattlesnake plays a crucial role in protecting human communities, believe it or not. Rodents, rats, mice, and other small mammals are the primary prey of the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake. And these rodents can spread disease, destroy crops, and damage infrastructure. By keeping rodent populations down, rattlesnakes act, as natural pest managers. If you was to remove rattlesnakes from the ecosystem, the balance will just begin to collapse. And this brings us to a little bit bigger idea, ecological balance. Every species has a role. The Mexican West Coast rattlesnake is both predator and prey, so it controls rodent populations while also serving as a food source for birds of prey, such as hawks and eagles, and sometimes even other snakes. When one species disappears, the effects ripple outward. Nature is not a collection of isolated creatures, it's a fucking network. Unfortunately, the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake does face some serious threats. And it all comes back to humans. Habitat loss is one of the greatest dangers. You know, as agriculture expands, cities grow and roads cut through natural landscapes, the rattlesnake's territory becomes fragmented. And snakes are often killed out of fear, even when they pose no immediate threat. Climate change also alters, rainfall patterns and temperatures, affecting both the snake and the prey that it depends on. Fear plays a powerful role here. Many people are taught from a young age that, all snakes are evil and dangerous. But this fear just leads to unnecessary killing and misunderstanding. You know, but fear thrives in ignorance, and understanding really has the power to replace it. So, I want to talk a little bit about the behavior of the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake. The Mexican West Coast rattlesnake is not aggressive by nature. It is a solitary, very secretive, snake, and it just prefers to avoid confrontation. Most of the time it remains motionless, just relying on its camouflage. And if it does sense danger, it will often attempt to retreat. Only when it feels trapped or threatened will it rattle. And biting is the absolute last resort out of any of these snakes. There's also something, very deeply symbolic about the rattlesnake. In a lot of cultures, snakes represent transformation, renewal, and things like wisdom. The rattlesnake sheds its skin multiple times throughout its life. It's a visible reminder that growth, requires letting go of the old. You know, in indigenous cultures of Mexico, snakes have long been respected as, powerful and sacred animals. They believe that they're connected to the land and the cycles of life. From a scientific, point of view, though, rattlesnakes have also contributed to human medicine. Research, into snake venom has led to the development of, life-saving drugs, stuff like blood pressure disorders and clotting diseases, pain, seizures. So something once seen only as deadly has really become a source of healing. And I kind of, want to know what people think. What can we learn from the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake? In my first, we learn respect over fear. The snake does not seek conflict, and neither should we. You know, Another thing is that balance matters. When we disrupt ecosystems, we often create bigger problems than the ones we were trying to solve. And I guess the last one here for me is that knowledge saves lives, both human and animal. Learn how to identify, avoid and coexist with wildlife is far more effective than, reacting with violence. So I just asked that if you ever encounter a rattlesnake in the wild, the correct response is simple. Just stay calm, keep your distance, allow it space to move away. Most snakes will do exactly that. So, guys, in closing on the Mexican West Coast rattlesnake, it's not a monster, it's not an enemy. It's a guardian of balance, it's a product of millions of years of evolution. And it should be a reminder that the natural world does not exist for us alone, it exists with us. So when we choose understanding over fear, or stewardship over destruction, and respect over dominance, we just become better neighbors, not just to rattlesnakes, but to the planet itself. Okay, this rattlesnake has bit that mouse, and he is now on the hunt to go find it and pick it up. So we will actually continue watching him for a minute or two, and let him start eating that mouse. But then we will switch on over to the next animal. Hey, what's up, reptile dysfunction? I'm going to show you it here, buddy. We're in the middle of this feeding. I will feed that one next, boss man. The rattle actually grows with each shed as well. It doesn't grow year by year like people think. You can't really tell a rattler's age by its rattle. It can gain 3 or 4 buttons a year and even lose buttons. Yes, reptile dysfunction is 100% correct. The rattle is made of keratin, the same things as our fingernails are made of. And with every shed, the rattlesnake adds a new segment to that rattle. And he is also correct on, that you can't tell their age by that, because the snakes, for a juvenile snake or a neonate, they might shed, 6 times a year or something, or even more, where an adult, may only shed 2 times a year. So there's no accurate way to judge by that. So you just, because they get caught on rocks, on brush, all different kinds of things, so they get pulled off. Yeah, the banded rock rattlesnake is a very nice snake. For y'all that don't know what he's talking about, he is talking about the banded rock rattlesnake. And he has them native in the area where he lives. I don't know exactly where he lives, but if he goes a little from where he lives, I know for sure he can find them. Those are my favorite. I can find them here where I'm at, but I gotta go a ways up. Yeah, exactly. I figured that reptile dysfunction. That's what I just said. That's cool. What up, Tom? Yeah, I was checking your channel out a little bit too, reptile. And I definitely subbed up, and I'll be watching your stuff, man. I appreciate you stopping in here for sure. We won't watch the entire feeding of this guy. We'll just watch for another minute or two, and then we'll go ahead and switch on over to the rock rattlesnake here. Yeah, we understand that, reptiles. But I mean, I don't know how involved you are on your channel, but even if you took some, like stock photos or something, and put together, with some, sort of like I do, do a little speech about the species and their environments and all of that, just to kind of carry your channel along on the downtime. In reptile dysfunction, that's just like here at the virtual reptarium. I haven't been operating normal for 2 months now. I've been staying at the beach for 2 damn months, so everything's been disarray, and and then whatever. So yeah, man, just something like that, just to carry your channel along, you know, keep your views up, you know, and keep people interested. So that way it doesn't slow you down at all. You know, just a suggestion, not trying to tell you what to do. That's all. Just a suggestion. But all right, I guess we'll move on over to the rock rattlesnake here. We'll do a rock rattlesnake, and then you know, as a sort of a shout out to erectile dysfunction, we will feed the rock rattlesnake, and then immediately following the rock, we will do a viridis because they are both native species to his area. I don't know if Patrick has stopped in or not tonight. But all right, so all right, guys, here is the snake that the man is looking for. Hang on, this damn phone. So here's the snake that the man's looking for right here. And the rodent that I am about to feed to this snake is probably a little bit large, but I think the snake can handle it. So we're going to try. If he has any trouble, I will cut the rodent up in a little bit, feed it to him. So, but I think he can handle this rodent. Come on, bitch. I'm sorry, y'all probably missed that strike because he struck soon as I dropped it in there. No, sir, this is a banded. Yep, this is a banded. I can't believe this damn snake is biting that thing so many times. Jeesh. I think it's because of the size, you know, he just keeps on nailing it. He's definitely ready for it, Ashley. Yeah, they are very pretty ones, very pretty. Yeah, dysfunction. I believe y'all have. You guys definitely have Atrox. You got Viridis. You've got Massasauga. You've got Ruber. I believe the Ruber comes over that far. Clubbery. Hell yeah, that mouse is fucking. That mouse is fucking immune. Like I say, it's a very large mouse for that little snake. As you know, the rock rattlesnake is not a very potent venom, It is definitely potent enough to cause a bad fucking day for you, but it's not potent enough to hurt you, that seriously, unless you're allergic. Are you still here, Iron Sword? Yeah, I think he'll be all right eating it. Like I say, it's a little large, but I think he'll be all right. You're going the wrong way, bud. There you go. There you go. Actually, this is pretty much going to be the stream for reptile dysfunction, because a lot of the rattlesnake species that he has native to his area is what I have lined up to feed here right now. Yeah, dysfunction. You named one there that I'm having a hard time putting my hands on. I don't like wild caught, but I would sure like to have one of them as Arizona blacks. So which blacktail do you have there? Do you got the ornatus or the molossus? No, that would make sense. It would definitely make sense if it's the ornatus. Yeah, yeah. Is that different from the... Hey, Tom, is that a joke? Because I took that as a fucking joke, if so. I thought so, buddy. I thought so. Yeah, the the uh, the Arizona blacks, they'll bite you. The Alabama blacks will rob you. But either way, they'll both take all your money. I need to pick better fucking friends. Nah. Nah, I got good friends. But actually, some of y'all have met actually, a couple of my black friends back in one of the old streams. And fucking, most of them cool dudes are cool, when you talk shit like this or something, they don't, they ain't fucking, cocksuckers like some people. Yeah, dysfunction. The speckled rattlesnake is on the top of my list, for sure. My all-time favorite rattlesnake is the northeastern timber rattlesnake. Exactly, Zom. My black friends love it, man. Like, I got a guy that works for me. I've known him for years and years, and if I didn't joke with him about shit, he would fucking, he would think something's wrong. Yeah, man, timbers are great. Now, in the South, they used to be called a cane brake, but so I still consider them a different species, the cane brake versus the timber rattlesnake. Even though science says they're the same snake, they look different, and I think they're a lot prettier out of the northeastern United States. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Who the fuck's rattling at me? I ain't fucking scared of that rattle, dude. You know that shit. That's gonna get you nowhere. Well, the Mexican West Coast is finished. Hell yeah, Tom. I remember in Living Color. So, guys, I have been considering purchasing another Cobra. There's a little bit of a concern with it that's stopping me. I can get a really good deal on a pastel sunset 100% het leucistic monocle that is breeding age. She has been producing, she has produced several clutches so far. After her last clutch about 2 years ago, this is the third year now, she has, if you feed her a large meal, she will regurgitate it every time. But if you feed her a small meal, she keeps it down just fine. So I would like to buy her, but I am a little concerned on the regurging of large meals. No, man, I got non-venomous too. I got ball pythons. I got a couple of hog noses, but that's all I got. I guess the hog nose would, be venomous, but everybody, treats them as non-venomous because it's not medically significant. But yeah, I got a bunch of ball pythons. Well, Sue, it could be, an indication of a digestive problem. But now, at the same time, I have a white speckled rattlesnake that is just like that. If I feed her a large fucking, meal, she'll regurgitate it every time. But I feed her, some fuzzy mice or something, no problem at all. So I'm very, very, tossed up on what to do. I mean, she's an older monocled cobra, and even if she only ever produced one litter for me, I would easily get my money back. Am I familiar with the bamboo rat snake? No, I'm not, buddy. I'm not. I believe I've seen them before, but I've never seen one in person. Yeah, I can't take her to the vet. I mean, he's willing to give me a good price on her. I mean, I have snorted more than he wants for her in my life, but I just don't know what to do. You're not going to get any snakes. You're just going to do the herping thing. She is going to get me, Tom. She going to get me good. But hell yeah, man. I like I like herping, for sure. I go every year up to Pennsylvania and I hunt timber rattlesnakes. I do all catch and release. Yes, it would probably be a problem. I would probably never be able to sell her. Um, but again, if she produces one viable clutch for me, you know, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have a loss. Well, the the bandit had fucking swallowed the whole rat or the whole mouse. He didn't have no trouble with it. Yeah, I got some copperheads. Hell yeah, that's cool dysfunction. I respect the hell out of that. Now, in all honesty, I did keep one male this past season, and that's because I have a 1 acre habitat that is fenced in with hardware cloth, 6 foot high hardware cloth, buried in the ground 2 feet deep, around a 1 acre piece. And I have dens that are, built underground, rocks and everything. And they live a natural life in that habitat. And I wanted to put some new blood into those genetics. And so I did catch one male that I kept this past season, but that's the first wild caught that I've kept in, many, many years. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Sue. It's a good price. I can get the snake for $800. Um, Retail price, she would go for about $1,200. At her size, she would maybe even fetch a little bit more. But I was thinking that maybe I'll just feed her small meals and I will just feed her, maybe every 5 days instead of every 7 days or something. Yes, in Pennsylvania, you do. Yes, sir. In Pennsylvania, you got to have a fishing license, and then you have to buy a venomous snake stamp for your fishing license. And you are allowed to keep one timber rattlesnake per year and one copperhead per year. Now, if you go hunting, oh, do you need a license to hunt ghosts? Ethan said. That would be a question for E2, Ethan. But if you was to, oh, that's Patrick that asked that. Okay, but Patrick, if let's say you wanted to go hunting them and not keep any, you can go hunt them and look for them, but you're not allowed to touch them or handle them. You do need ghost balls. You need spirit balls to hunt ghosts. Well, now that he's done, I think we will move on to the next snake of the list here. And this should be another snake that is native to Dysfunction's area. And we will see who has paid attention on this channel here in a minute. So let's see who pays attention and who don't. Can anybody tell me I only recently found out you can't keep certain snakes like hognose when you find them. I found a nice little hog last year, but like I said, I don't keep, just film it and let it go. Yeah, man, that's the laws are different in every state, you know. Like I say, I don't really like to keep wild caught, you know, but now in my circumstance with the male timber that I got this past season, you know, it's still living a very, you know, wild snake life. You know, it's just confined to that 1 acre area, which ain't bad because a timber rattlesnake will only travel up to 5 miles from its den anyway. So anyway, guys, so we will feed another one here. Right here, and this snake here this snake right here is the Western Massasauga rattlesnake. They're scientifically known as Cistrurus turgeminus. It's one of the smallest rattlesnake species in North America. The adults, you know, typically only grow to between, you know, 1 and 2 feet long. And it makes them a whole lot smaller than, you know, the large rattlesnakes that a lot of people picture. They have thick bodies, you know, that classic triangular shaped head, you know, vertical pupils. And obviously you can hear it, that very distinctive rattle, you know, at the end of their tail. The coloring, you know, usually gray or light brown, you know, with dark blotches along their back. And again, it just provides excellent camouflage in the grasslands and the rocky terrain. Um, this species is found primarily in the central United States, parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and some surrounding states, you know. Uh, Western Massasaugas prefer the open habitats like prairies and grasslands, wetlands, and even lightly wooded areas. These environments just really allow them to blend in with the vegetation while hunting prey and avoiding predators. Um, Unlike some snakes that thrive near human development, the Western Massasauga tends to avoid people whenever possible. Um, and again, despite the fearsome reputation, you know, these Western Massasaugas, they're not aggressive, you know. They rely on their camouflage and their stillness, you know, as their first line of defense. When they're threatened, you know, they might rattle to warn, you know, predators or even humans to stay away. But biting is always a last resort, you know. Many bites occur, you know, when the snake is accidentally stepped on or handled, you know. And their venom is, you know, again, primarily used to subdue prey, and they eat things like mice, small birds, frogs, and lizards, and just like the other ones, it helps control rodent populations. This snake, is very valuable to farmers and the ecosystems. Like all rattlesnakes, the Western Massasauga is venomous, but its venom is rarely fatal to humans, especially when medical treatment's available. Serious bites are very uncommon and deaths are extremely rare. The modern anti-venom, and prompt medical care makes encounters, far less dangerous than what a lot of people believe. The real danger comes, not from the snake itself, but from, fear and misunderstanding, which leads people to kill them on sight. One of the most important things to know about the Western Massasauga is that it's declining in many parts of its range. Habitat loss is the biggest threat. And as you can see, there is a pattern with this. Humans, habitat loss is the threat to all these animals. But it's because the grasslands, they're converted into farmland and roads and urban areas. The snake loses places to live. It has nowhere to hunt. They can't reproduce. They're, also vulnerable to being run over on the road, and intentionally killed. You know, because of these pressures, the Western Massasauga is considered threatened or endangered in several states. And some of y'all say, well, why should we care? Well, the answer lies in balance. Western Massasaugas help regulate populations of rodents, which can damage crops and spread disease. Removing predators like this snake can cause ecosystems to become unbalanced, leading to problems that affect, humans. Protecting these rattlesnakes also helps preserve the grassland ecosystems, and those ecosystems support many other plants and animals. Conservation efforts focus on habitat protection and public education. And, by preserving natural grasslands and wetlands, and limiting unnecessary development and teaching people how to safely, coexist with wildlife, we can help ensure that this species survives. It's simple actions, like watching where you step, not disturbing wildlife, and reporting sightings instead of killing snakes. It can make a huge, huge, significant difference. The Western Massasauga rattlesnake is not a monster to be feared. It's part of a vital, vital part of our natural world, I guess. It's small, it's shy, and far more interested in avoiding us than harming us. But, by learning facts and, respecting its role in the ecosystem, we can replace fear with understanding. Protecting the Western Massasauga isn't just about saving a snake, it's about preserving balance in nature and learning how to live responsibly alongside the wildlife that shares our world. And guys, that's why I ask everybody to smash the like button when they stop in and stuff and drop some comments, because that's what signals to the algorithm that people are engaging, and it helps push this content out to more people. And the more people we can reach with our content, the more people we can teach, and we can start to replace that fear with respect. Yeah, he is more interested in me than the mouse. This guy always plays with his food. I'll probably just have to move on to a different snake. He will eat it, but he just plays games every time. Yeah, you're right, reptile dysfunction. If the venom don't get you, the hospital bill will. Okay, you do have them there, just not in your county. Awesome. And yes, Sue, you was correct. In Massasauga. Hell yeah, man. I'll do the same for you too. You know, my channel's a small channel. It has met the qualifications for YouTube Partner Program. I just haven't signed up for it because, you know, my channel's not ever really been about money. It's been about, you know, the animals and education. So, but yeah, good, Sue. I'm glad you pay attention to the snake boy. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next snake because this guy's going to play with his food for a while. Ugh. Are you fucking kidding me? You guys are going to be fucking... You're not going to believe me when I tell you this. Nope, never mind. He gave up. Soon as I fucking sat him down over there, he went right to that fucking mouse like he was going to pick it up. All right, Bubba. Can you tell me what this one is dysfunction? Let me try to get the light a little better. Yeah, monetized. The snake boy is monetized. He's going to be fucking famous. It is not a sidewinder, Tom. Enjoy your rest, Zom. Get some rest, snake boy. Hell yeah, I got you, bro. Do you know what this snake is, dysfunction? This is another one that should be native to your area. He is a very pretty snake. His name is Dick because he's a dick. Yes, Tom, you are correct. Yes, sir. Did you cheat or did you figure that out all by yourself? Hey, little mouse, hey. Hey, little mouse, hey. Hey. Oh, damn. That hurt. That fucking hurt. Oof. Okay, you have Western Diamondbacks in your county. You don't have the Viridis in your county? The prairie? Oh, yeah, their venom is quick. I mean, oh, sorry, but I didn't mean to scare you. Look, that mouse is already fucked. I mean, Sorry, Dick. I didn't mean to scare you, Bubba. Here, dude. Let me put you over here out of the way so you can relax while you eat your fucking mouse. Here. I'm going to walk away so he ain't so scared. Yeah, I thought that's what you said. Okay, cool. This snake right here, if this snake, was in anybody's collection, if they were ever going to get bit by a venomous snake, this would be the snake to do the job. 100 fucking %. This snake is a dick. After this one, we will feed another snake native to your area. And again, it's going to be a fairly large rodent for the snake size, but I think he can handle it. Yeah, I believe you're right, man. It's definitely a Veritas thing because, now in the Western Diamondbacks defense, I have a couple of very, very defensive asshole, Westerns. I got a tangerine albino male that is a super prick. And I have a horny monocled cobra that keeps trying to get out to get to the females. That is a Pepsi. Yes, Sue Snitch. That's who we're talking about. We're going to feed some more snakes tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to feed the giant gaboon vipers. Yeah, it's a sleepy mouse. He just made a new friend, so he's taking a nap. He feels comfortable. I just found my vape. I feel like taking a sick cloud. I feel like blowing a sick cloud. You had to take over for Tom. Tom did a pretty good job. Okay, I'm done blowing clouds. That fucking thing's horrible. Wowee. Here he goes. Here he goes. He's kind of like, what the fuck is this little snack? The fuck, bro? What the fuck, bro? You're going to do it like Queertus, ain't you? You're going to go ass first. He missed the Kraken. Hell yeah. I'm sure y'all just heard the warden. All right, Dick, quit being a bitch about it, dude, and eat that thing. I gotta move on, but I don't want to scare you. Yeah, he's a cool little snake. Hey guys, I got a new fish today, and I named it Jason. You reckon you can tell what kind of snake it is, or what kind of fish it is? That would be close, Sue, but well, that would be an even better one too, Ashley. But nope. God damn it, man. It's a beta. A beta. Ah. What are you doing, Dick? What's going on, buddy? Cut that shit out, Bubba. Hey, cut that shit out. Alright, guys. Dick's gonna be a dick by the looks of it. He's gonna be a fucking beta. So, well, I'll give him one more chance here. If he don't pick it the fuck up, I'm gonna cover him up with something so he's hiding and move on to the next snake. Yes, very ugly. Very ugly. Beta. Oh yeah. He's a beta with a big head. Beta. And he's got a blue face. What's up, baby hubby? Hmm? What's going on, baby hubby? Hmm? You're getting big, girl. Jeez, you're getting big. You look like your mama. Yes, ma'am. You look like your mama. Ew, that snake pooped in his cage and you didn't even clean it, snake boy. You left snake poop in a cage. That's fucked up. That's fucked, bro. That's so fucked up, dude. Dude. Alright. As soon as Dick gets that down a little bit farther, I'll go move the camera to the next one. I just don't want to scare him. What's up, Loose? What's up, Loose? What's up, girl? What's up? Yes, I'm getting you. I gotta move shit out the way and I can get you. I gotta pick this fat girl up. She's heavy. Oh my gosh. You are a heavy girl, you know that? My goodness. You're a heavy girl. Sheesh. How you doing, Dick? You're doing all right, Dick. It's okay, Bubba. I'm not gonna fuck with you. Nah, Dick, don't spit it out, Dick. Don't spit it out, Dick. Come on, man. All right, Dick, here. Fuck. Son of a fucking bitch. I don't know why he's being like this anymore, but all right, Dick, here. Let me cover him up real quick so he can eat. He's fucking freaking out. There you go, Dick. Now you can eat your mouse without worrying, bud. Okay. Beta. Beta. What we've got here, failure to hallucinate. Some shrooms you just can't eat. So you get the ones that we had here last week, which is the way he wants. Well, he gets. Look at your women crying. Way they've always done before. Are you gonna nail it, girl? Come on, nail it. Come on, nail it. Yes, sir. This is a true yellow phase timber. This is not one of the cane break timbers. This is a true yellow phase. Girl, you need to bite that mouse. It's shitting all over your fucking cage. It's shitting everywhere. It is shitting everywhere, buddy. Yeah, you're probably right. I think I would be. Oh, you fucking bitch. Come on. Let's at least catch the strike, girl. Come on. Do you need me to pre-kill it for you? Yeah, she gonna probably make me pre-kill the thing. Aren't you, girl? Are you gonna make me pre-kill it? Are you gonna make me pre-kill it? Pretty girl? Hey. Hey, pretty girl. Hey, pretty girl. Oh yeah, she'll eat. She'll eat. She's this girl here, buddy, she had a long battle with snake fungal disease. And then she also fucking gave birth this fall. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you. Hit that like button, Tom39. I appreciate you stopping in. I think Tom's upset because Jerry didn't come with him today. Unless he thinks that's Jerry in the cage. I'm a vile idiot. Oof. 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 Did he bite you already, Mouse? Why are you jumping like that? Did she bite you? And I missed it or something? Oof. Yeah, this is a defective snake. Hey, listen, I did not make these creatures. God made these creatures. I did not say what they would eat. I didn't say any of it. So you're just going to have to get over it, if you don't like it. It's the cycle of life. Ah, little mousy. Little mousy. And guys, you know what? In that Tom 39's defense a little bit, it does suck feeding live rodents, to snakes. I completely agree. It sucks. Look at that, guys. You just got a hell of a fang shot. That was awesome. But anyway, it sucks feeding live rodents. I don't like it either. What up, Armando? But unfortunately, that's just how it goes. You have to feed live to certain animals. And, if it wasn't for these snakes in the wild, eating fucking rodents and stuff, we would be overrun by rodents. It would be a fucking nightmare. So it sucks, but it's all part of it. The snakes got to eat too. Yeah, exactly. Reptile dysfunction, it is what it is, if I didn't, these snakes that are eating live now, if I did not feed them live, they would starve to death. Some people do not understand that, a snake will starve itself to death. It will become anorexic and starve itself. So there's just no fucking choice sometimes. But guys, this snake here is the timber rattlesnake. They're scientifically known as Crotalus horridus. It is one of the largest rattlesnake species in the eastern United States. Adults usually, come in somewhere between 3 and 5 feet long. Some of them can grow larger than that. Again, they have thick, muscular bodies, that iconic wide triangular shaped head and that rattle at the end of the tail. Their colorations vary, but a lot of timber rattlesnakes have a yellowish gray or brown background, with dark bands that zigzag patterns, along their bodies. It helps camouflage them, and blend into the forest floors that's covered in leaves and branches. Timber rattlesnakes are found throughout much of the eastern and central United States, all the way from New England down to, the northeastern, or I'm sorry, the northern portions of Florida, all the way out to, Minnesota, and other parts of the Midwest. As their name suggests, they prefer wooded habitats, places like forests, rocky hillsides, and the mountainous areas. They're especially common near rock outcrops. They love rocky outcrops. And that's because it provides them, shelter, safe places, places for brumation during the colder months. Timber rattlesnakes, are active from spring through early fall. Despite their intimidating appearance, timber rattlesnakes are generally calm and they're never aggressive. They rely very heavily on camouflage, and often, just like the others, they'll remain motionless, when humans approach. And if they do feel threatened, they'll rattle their tail as a warning signal. The rattle is meant to prevent conflict, not really start one. Bites only occur when a snake is provoked, or accidentally stepped on or intentionally harmed. The timber rattlesnake is a venomous species and its venom is very powerful. The timber rattlesnake is potentially the most toxic rattlesnake in the United States. The snake uses its venom mainly to hunt prey, things like mice, rats, squirrels, chipmunks, sometimes small birds, and by controlling rodent populations, the timber rattlesnakes help reduce the spread of disease and, protect crops and forests. It makes them a very important natural predator. Unfortunately, timber rattlesnakes have experienced serious, population declines. There's habitat destruction, road mortality, and intentional killing. These are all the things that have, very significantly reduced their numbers. Many people kill these snakes out of fear, even though the snake poses little threat when left alone. But because of this, the timber rattlesnake is listed as threatened or endangered in many states, and they are protected by law in most states. Conservation efforts, focus on, protecting, the forest habitats, limiting human disturbance, near den sites, and, educating the public. Whenever people understand that the timber rattlesnake is not aggressive and it plays a valuable ecological role, they're more likely to exist peacefully with them. Simple actions such as keeping a, safe distance, not handling wild snakes, and just respecting protected areas can really help ensure their survival. The timber rattlesnake is, a powerful yet very misunderstood animal. It's not a creature of malice, but they are a, quiet hunter, that just plays a key role in maintaining healthy ecosystems. By replacing fear with knowledge, we can help protect the timber rattlesnake and the forest that it calls home. Respecting this species is not just about saving a snake, it's about preserving balance in nature. And a couple of fun facts with these guys, the timber rattlesnake is the oldest recognized, rattlesnake species on the planet. It is also, when those of you from the United States know of the Don't Tread on Me flag, which is actually called the Gadsden flag, the rattlesnake that is depicted on that flag is actually the timber rattlesnake. It's basically a symbol of, power but docile, you know. So basically it's saying, you know, look, we're calm and docile, you know, I won't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me kind of thing, but if you do fuck with me, I will hurt you, you know. So it's, you know, it's just an all-round, you know, very, very powerful animal. No, sir, erectile dysfunction. The Eastern is probably the most dangerous bite because of the sheer volume of venom that it, you know, produces. But the timber rattlesnake's venom is probably the most toxic in North America. Yeah. The Mojave would probably be number 2 in line for the most toxic venom. So yeah, my opinion is it would go timber, Mojave, Eastern. All right, guys. We're going to do this a little bit different for this girl here. Hey, girl, don't bite me. Just give me a minute and I'm going to help you. I am going to help you. Hey, girl. Here. Oh, no. Guys, if the chat is in your way of seeing her when she goes to eat this mouse, if you click your upper right corner, you can find the thing that says live chat. Just toggle that switch off and the chat will get out of your way where you can see it better. Because she will eat this now. She's just kind of a little weird about the live one this time. I don't know why. I mean, this girl will eat frozen thawed, but I didn't have any frozen thawed prepared tonight. So I just decided to go ahead and feed her while we were feeding the others that require live. Nah, she's not much of a killer. She's pretty laid back. You know, she will do it most of the time. You know, she does play games about it, but you know, tonight she just isn't in the mood for it. But she will most certainly eat this rodent. Yep, a pacifist. That's right. She didn't want to be called a sadistic snake bite Tom 39 or whatever his name was. Beta. 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 Yes, she is. She is one of the recovering snakes. Yep. She is doing very, very well. I am very happy with her progress. She is one of three. Yes, sir. Snake fungal disease. Yep. Yep. Snake fungal disease wreaks havoc on timber rattlesnakes. It is a horrible disease, man. It's got, just about a 70% fatality rate on timber rattlesnakes. Ophidiomycosis. Ophidiomyces, Ophidia E. coli are an invasive fungus species that feeds on keratin. So it eats their scales and their, rattles and stuff, but then it can also get systemic and it can get into their lungs, their kidneys, their internal organs. Ophidiomyces, Ophidia E. coli are the fungus responsible for causing it. It is naturally, well, not naturally, because it is an invasive fungus species, but it is found in the soils and, decomposing wood and things like that, which are the areas that timber rattlesnakes thrive in. It can affect any snake on the planet, but timber rattlesnakes are affected, way largely in proportion to other snakes. Okay, well, she's a little shy as well. So if she's going to be a little shy as well, I think I'll cover her up and we will move on to an Insularis maybe, instead of wasting everybody's time here. So let me go ahead and cover her up, and you know what? Actually, let me try something real quick before I cover her up. I could potentially coax her. Let me try to coax her into eating here. There you go. Very gentle. Very, very, very gentle. There you go, guys. I don't know how many of y'all have ever seen a pit viper take prey the way this girl did. No, I don't think she has a problem seeing it, because these guys don't really operate on eyesight. They do it more so on the heat sensing pits. I think that, because this girl used to, live in the outdoor habitat, she was never kept in an enclosure like this, until fall came along and she was close to giving birth. Or I'm sorry, this girl gave birth in the habitat and I noticed it. So I took her and the babies out and started treating the snake fungal disease. And she's never lived in an enclosure up until that point. And then after being in the enclosure, I think it, has, sort of messed with her a little bit because it's a small area and that mouse, jumps around like crazy and stuff. So, yeah, maybe she got a faulty sensor. She very well could. Maybe the fungal disease has done something to her heat sensing pits. I don't know. But I don't think so because it can be completely dark, in the room. And I can walk in there. She'll rattle at me. She knows I'm there. So, but either way, if I have to feed her like this the rest of her life, that's what I'll do. That may be the case, Sue. You're right. She has been eating like this ever since she got, me, putting it in front of her and her gently taking it. So, yeah, there's a very good possibility that she's just spoiled now and wants to be hand fed. Yeah, I'll have to plug the OBD2 reader into her and see, if she has any light on, check engine light on or something. See what's going on. I do got to try to feed the forest cobra tomorrow night as well. The one forest cobra. Where's he at? Hey, Bubba, how are you? I haven't looked at you in a while. Let me check you out. Want to check your nose, Bubba. Yeah, you're okay. What up, backlit? Now, my biggest snake is the Naja guineensis, the black forest cobra. Now, the snake that will get the biggest is my Malaysian king cobra. It would go this order. It would go my Malaysian king cobra, my Indonesian king cobra, then it would go to the Naja guineensis, then it would go down to the brown forest cobra. Then I would say, now my heaviest snakes, West African gaboon viper named Bertha. And my second heaviest snake is another West African gaboon viper named Bill. And then my next two heaviest are my Eastern Diamondbacks. Oh yeah, my Malaysian king will get 18 feet long. Sorry, big girl. Hey, it's okay, big girl. Yeah. No, I thought it was the fucking belligerent zip tie. All right. So there's that girl. Now, I have seen something like that. I didn't know that's what they were called, but I know what you're talking about. Okay. So now, let's feed this dude. Let's move her out the way quick. Because we'll move her, because then I got another timber that we're going to take a look at that we took a giant deuce in its cage. It's a male. Come here, big girl. Girl. Okay. All right. All right, snake fans. All right, snaky snake fans. Here comes another little feller. Whoop, whoop. Nah, I'm not a football fan, really. I'm too lazy. But I'm willing to talk about football. Hey, I wonder where Bobby Joe is tonight. That's a little strange. What's up, Bubba? This guy's going to strike quick as fuck. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? You're making a liar out of me. Virtual's a lying son of a bitch. Virtual's a liar. Virtual's a liar. Now, for some of y'all that don't know, let me get the camera put correctly here. But for some of y'all that don't know, arboreal snakes typically grab a hold of their prey and they hold on until the prey expires. This is a Trimerosaurus insularis, also known as the blue insularis. The lighting sucks, so let me try to get some better light on them. Yeah, I mean, there's a little better light, but yeah, this is a blue insularis male. He's about a 7-year-old male. Yeah, I know it. In this light, his blue ain't showing good. Let me see if I can get a bit brighter light here real quick. All right, this might bring these color out. There you go. That's much gooder. The camera that I'm using is a cheap ass one, but that helps for sure. Guys, so the blue insularis is a color variation of the Asian green pit viper that's scientifically known as the Trimerosaurus insularis. A lot of individuals of this species are bright green, but some populations, like this one specifically, from the Indonesian island, Komodo Island, have this vivid blue or turquoise coloration. The adults, usually get between 2 and 3 feet long, though some individuals get much larger, like my females. Both of my females are much, much bigger. But they usually have a relatively slender body, and again, that classic triangular shaped head for a pit viper, vertical pupils, the heat sensing pits that you see between the eyes and the nostril. And that's what helps them detect warm-blooded prey, even in complete darkness. These snakes are native to Southeast Asia, particularly Indonesia. And again, the Trimerosaurus insularis is found, on, particularly the mainland of Indonesia and islands such as like the Java Island, Bali Islands, in nearby regions. But the blue insularis, thrives on the Komodo Island, in that tropical environment, including like the rainforest plantations, forest edges. They're an arboreal snake, meaning that they spend a lot of their life in the trees and in the shrubs. Their coloration, kind of helps them blend into their surroundings, whether among green leaves or bluish shadows, in the dense vegetation. The blue insularis is primarily nocturnal, it becomes active at nighttime to hunt. They feed on, small mammals, birds, frogs, even lizards. And again, it uses its heat sensing pitch, to accurately strike the prey, even when it's completely dark out. Like many vipers, it is an ambush predator, remaining still and waiting patiently for the prey to come, close enough for it to strike. Although the blue insularis is venomous, it is not naturally aggressive, It again, like every other snake, prefers to avoid confrontation. And a lot of the time, it'll just remain motionless, unless it's disturbed. If it's threatened, it might coil its body, hiss, or even strike in defense. A lot of bites happen, because people accidentally touch the snake or attempt to handle it or try to kill it. Its venom is, primarily designed to subdue its prey, not humans. While bites can be medically serious with this snake, and they do require, immediate medical treatment, fatalities are very, very rare with proper care. The blue insularis plays an important role in maintaining their ecological balance, And again, they control, populations of rodents, other small animals, It really helps, prevent overpopulation, and it reduces, the spread of diseases. Removing predators, again, like this snake, can disrupt ecosystems that cause long-term environmental problems. It's not just about right now or fucking tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, the blue insularis, does face growing threats, and again, just like all the others, habitat destruction, deforestation, the illegal wildlife trade is a big one with this species, Its unique coloration makes it highly desirable in the exotic pet trade, and it leads to over collection in some areas, Additionally, fear and misinformation often result in the snakes being killed on sight. These pressures have contributed to population declines in certain regions. They are not threatened, but they can become threatened if, we don't be careful now. Conservation efforts, really focus on protecting, natural habitats. Um, even though I'm a kind of guy that doesn't, care a lot for law enforcement and things like that, I believe that regulating wildlife trade and educating local communities, is the best conservation you can have. Teaching people how to identify venomous snakes and how to safely coexist with them, can greatly reduce unnecessary killings and snake bite incidents. Respecting wildlife and preserving the forests are absolutely key steps in ensuring the survival of species like the blue insularis. The blue insularis is more than just a beautiful snake. It is a vital part of Southeast Asia's ecosystems. They're a calm, secretive snake, and they play an important role in maintaining balance in nature. By replacing fear with understanding and admiration, we can help protect this remarkable species and the environments that it needs and depends on. The blue insularis, kind of reminds us that even the most dangerous looking animals have an important place in the natural world. And it certainly reminds us that beauty and danger coexist. It just, I wish people could have more respect for the wildlife. It's way more important than a lot of people realize. I'm sorry, I'll quit ranting now. I start ranting about the shit, but absolutely, dysfunction. It's very, very simple in the United States. There is only one elapid in the United States. The coral snake. Outside of that, everything else is just pit viper or non-venomous. I guess if you're going to talk about hog noses being venomous, sure, or the what's that other one? The lyre snake. Yeah, I'm ranting and raving, ranting and raving. you know, there's actually, there's a snake out there that was just recently discovered that it's actually venomous. For a long time, they didn't even know that it was venomous. They passed it off as a non-venomous snake for many, many years. But it's actually, its scientific name is Trimorphodon, and it's basically it's a genius of the nocturnal fucking world. They are mildly venomous. They just figured this out. They've been called the lyre snake. I think they spell YRE. But they're a rear-fanged colubrid is what they are. They're found in the southwestern United States and Mexico. But it turns out that their venom actually is a lot more potent than originally believed. Yes, garter snakes are rear fang venomous. Yes, they are. But yeah, so it's crazy, with snakes, reptiles and stuff like this. Even after all these years, there's still stuff to learn, about reptiles. Good job, bub. Good job, Bubba. See, I covered him up with a towel and he went ahead and ate. No problem. So let's see here. We are going to I guess we will do snitch. Who else do we got? We fed you. Well, we got to feed you. Can you handle this size, buddy? Yeah, I think you can get this size down. We're going to up you to a bigger size meal nowadays, dude. What do you think, Bubba? You want to start eating bigger meals? Are you a big enough boy now? Yeah? Okay. I think you can do it. It's pretty big for you, but I think you can handle it. What do you think? Yeah? Okay. I think so too. So let's go ahead and move the camera. Let's move the camera down here. Hey, Bubba. So dysfunction, I'm calling on you. What do you see here, buddy? Oh, you looked up the lyre snake? Yeah, the lyre snake is pretty cool. Anybody else want to take a shot at what this snake is? I'm ready to hear y'all out. Ugh. Yes, dysfunction. This is a Western Diamondback. This is a Western Diamondback. All right, buddy. So, like I say, we're going to give it a fairly large meal here for him. It's a little larger than he should probably have, but I don't think he'll have much trouble with it. So, again, live feeding, but bam. This guy wastes no time. Yeah, his tail banding is pretty thin for an Atrox. I agree. Yep, for an Atrox, his banding's thin. But as Dysfunction just pointed out, this is the Western Diamondback rattlesnake. It belongs to the family, Viperidae, as we talked about just a little bit ago. We said we had a Lapids, Vipers, and Colubrids, here in the States. But this one is of the Viper family, a pit viper. the snakes, are named again because of the heat sensing pits that's located there on their face between the eye and the nostril. Um, it's a specialized organ, that allowed the Western diamondback, scientifically known as the Crotalus atrox, to detect infrared radiation. Basically, it means that it can sense body heat of prey even when it's completely dark out. It basically makes the rattlesnake an extremely effective nocturnal hunter. The Western diamondback is native to the southwestern United States and northern Mexico. Its range is all over the place, from Texas to Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, parts of California, Colorado. It thrives in, a huge variety of habitats, everything from deserts, grasslands, scrublands, rocky hillsides, and even agricultural areas. Its adaptability is one of the reasons the species has been so successful. Physically, the Western diamondback is very impressive. Adults, usually range from 3 to 5 feet in length. There are some individuals that get even larger. These snakes, get its common name from, that pattern that you see on the back, the diamond shapes, that run all the way along its back, and obviously bordered by lighter scales. The coloration varies depending on its environment. They range anywhere from gray and brown to pinkish or yellow tones. It just allows it to blend in seamlessly to its surroundings. At the end of its tail is the famous rattle. It's made of keratin segments, that produce a buzzing sound when they're shaken. And here's a fun little fact for you. The muscle in the tail that is, responsible for doing the shaking, they can shake that tail up to 60 times per second. And the muscle that's responsible for that is called the tail shaking muscle. Very scientific, I think. But, contrary to popular belief, the rattle is not an aggressive weapon. It's just a warning system, and when they're threatened, the atrox uses its rattle to alert potential, predators of humans, just to keep their distance, it sort of helps the snake avoid unnecessary conflicts. Rattlesnakes would rather retreat than strike. And bites usually only occur, if the snake is startled, cornered, or stepped on, or somebody tries to kill it, The venom of the atrox is potent and it's very complex. It is primarily hemotoxic. And as we've mentioned, that just means that it destroys tissue and it disrupts blood clotting. Bites can be very serious and require immediate medical attention. Fatalities are rare whenever you get treatment, but interestingly, rattlesnakes, can control how much venom they inject and can even deliver a dry bite with no venom at all if they feel threatened but not in danger, if that makes any sense. I guess in terms of what they eat, the atrox again plays a crucial role as a predator. They feed on small mammals like mice, rabbits, rats, ground squirrels, and even occasionally it might do a bird or a lizard. And again, by controlling rodent populations, the Western diamondback helps prevent, overgrazing and reduces the spread of diseases carried by rodents. In this way, the snake serves as a natural form of pest control, I like to say, that benefits both ecosystems and human communities. Reproduction in the atrox is also fascinating. Unlike many reptiles that lay eggs, the Western diamondback is ovoviviparous. And what that means is the female gives birth to live babies. After mating in the spring or fall, females give birth anywhere from 5 to 20 babies in the late summer. These newborns are fully independent from the minute they're born. And, they're born with functioning venom glands, making them very capable hunters immediately. despite their adaptations and ecological importance, the western diamondback rattlesnake does face some threats, not nearly like some others, but they still face them same threats of habitat loss, because of urban development and expansion. Agriculture, road construction has reduced their natural environments. Rattlesnakes are often killed out of fear or misunderstanding, and there's even organized rattlesnake roundups where snakes are collected and killed for entertainment. It's fucking ridiculous. You know, uh, all these things have, really contributed to population declines in some areas. They are still very plentiful, but it's not okay to do the roundups and the shit that they do. You know, a lot of conservationists, like myself, like to emphasize that, the Atrox is not an enemy. It's a valuable part of the ecosystem. And as I do here, I try to educate the public, about, how to coexist safely with rattlesnakes, and the fact that it's just so key that we do so. Just simple precautions, like, watching where you step, maybe wearing boots in snake prone areas, and just give the snakes space whenever they're encountered. It just, all this can greatly reduce the risk of bites, while allowing the animals to live and do what they are here to do. The Crotalus atrox, or the western diamondback rattlesnake, it's far more than just a symbol of danger. We're not living a real life cowboy movie. They're a highly evolved predator. They're essential, ecological regulator, and just a very great example of how animals adapt to their environments. And again, by replacing fear with understanding, we can appreciate the role this snake plays in maintaining those balances in their, natural world. Respecting the Atrox does not mean loving it, but it does mean recognizing its importance and allowing it the space that it needs to exist. That is absolutely a myth dysfunction. The babies are not more venomous than adults. In fact, an adult is way more dangerous than a baby. Yes, they are both dangerous. Yes, they are both venomous. Yes, they can both put you in the hospital and cause you to lose a finger or two, or possibly worse. However, small snake means small venom yield. Large adult snake means larger venom yield. So yes, that is very true what you said, dysfunction. That's a very big rodent for this little snake, but I think he can do it. I think he can do it. I have not introduced the new cobras yet. No, ma'am. We will probably actually feed them tomorrow. I'll give a little look at them tonight here, but we will feed them tomorrow. Sue, you've never seen one before. Well, as long as Tom won't get mad, I'll email you a picture. No, no. Fine then. Oh shit. But yeah, as this snake here, starts eating his rodent or whatever here, finishes his rodent, I will grab the camera and I'm going to actually show you a timber rattlesnake that there are many, many herpetologists, snake enthusiasts, whatever, that sort of argue the existence of this rattlesnake, morph. It is a timber rattlesnake, but it is a color variation that very, very few acknowledge. I don't fail to acknowledge because I have one in my collection. It's probably a good thing you said no, because I was about to send you the picture of E2. That would have been funny as fuck. I think every one of y'all deserved to see what I had to see. You guys deserve to see that. The penguin. I forgot about the penguin. Yeah. You're right. The penguin was enough. Boy, this little snake's like, man, I don't know what to do. This is a big ass fucking rodent. Like, he don't know what to do. Can you do it, little guy? I think you can do it. That fucking bandit did it. You can do it. You have to put boric acid and everything in your fucking eyes. You can do it, little dude. You don't want to go from that end, though. I think Queerdus corrupted my snakes. They all try to go ass first. You go, little Bubba. You got it. You got it. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job, little dude. I got somebody lurking waiting for a fucking rodent. Sue, I have a snake lurking around waiting for a rodent. Can you guess who would be lurking? Nope. It's a venomous one. Here, I don't know if I can give you a hint or not. Let me see. Let me see if I can give it a hint. Hey, Bubba. I don't know if that's a hint or not, if you can hear it. really thought, yep, that's it, snitch. I really thought you would get it on the first try with snitch, because anytime I've ever come in with rodents, his ass was always lurking like, where's mine at, fat boy? Where's mine at, fat boy? Shit. What up, snitchy snitch? What up, snitchy? Okay. What's up, snitchy boy? Snitchy boy, snitchy boy. Nah, you know what? Maybe, you know what? Never mind. Snitch can wait till tomorrow. I got somebody else here. Somebody else here wants some attention and some food. So we're just going to wait for Snitch till tomorrow. Yeah, I got the snake that's in my profile pic. Yes, sir. Let me see what my profile pic is. Yes, I do, but that snake is AI. That snake is AI edited. Yeah, little dude's trying with that mouse. He'll get it. Oh, he'll get it. He won't abandon it. But that snake in my profile pic is a T negative albino monocle cobra, and I actually do not no longer have that snake. He passed away. His name was JR. So I was wrong when I said yes, I have him, because I don't any longer have him. You can actually find some short videos on my channel way back, about 4 months ago, of him. What's up, little dude? You got to get him by the face. Yeah, he passed away. He got very sick and, overheated. I had an air conditioning failure in the snake room in August, I think it was, and it just got chaotic, man. I lost a couple of snakes over that. I lost a couple of bamboo vipers. I lost a couple speckled rattlesnakes. I lost a couple of monocle cobras over it. So now when it comes to my snake building, I had built an entirely new building for the snakes. And it has a backup air conditioner, and it also has a backup exhaust fan, a very large exhaust fan, that if the temperatures reach 90 degrees in that building, that exhaust fan will kick on, and it'll open up these louvers to allow air to flow. I think little dude figured it out. But I'm gonna try to grab the last rodent here, and I'm gonna feed this other snake here quick. Grab the camera and the rodent. Give me just a moment here. Let me get the camera in the tripod. If for some reason this starts buffering, stick around. I'll turn it right back on. It's very hard to see this snake in this setup here. I'll try to zoom in a little. There you go. So this is, see if you can tell me what this is. Bam. She did not waste no fucking time. Look at that. Whoop, whoop. Yes, sir. That is a speckled. Yes, sir. Let me try to sit this where I can sit the light on it and give y'all some light here, because she's very hard to see. Actually, I'll get the plug for the ring light. That'll work. There you go. That's a little gooder. Yeah, she does almost look like a tiger. She does. She looks a lot like my tiger, actually. My tiger is just a little more gray rather than tan. And then as soon as she's done eating here in a minute, I will show you this other timber that I was talking about that a lot of people will argue that this color morphit don't even exist. It never fails. The second I walk away, these fucking snakes drag the rodent out of view. Oh, it's okay, girl. It's all right, girl. I'm not going to mess with you. I'm just getting where we can see you. Okay? Fuck. Oh, I have dropped it. No joke, man, probably 50 times. Probably 50 freaking times. I get knocked down, but I get up again. I'm never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. I get knocked down. Sue, I think Bobby Joe was a troll. I think Bobby Joe was a troll. If she wasn't, she'd be here tonight. Uh-oh, Casey O'Brien's fucking on live. Oh, she's at the beach. Yep, Chumbawamba. You must not be a young buck. You remember Chumbawamba. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's the only time she misses. You in your 30s? Got you, brother. Hell yeah. I'm in my 40s to some people, and I'm in my 60s to others. All depends on which trolls I'm talking to. Oh, yeah. Hey, fishy, fishy, fishies. Hey. Fishy, fishy, fishies. Hey, fishy, fishies. Hey. Fishy, fishies. Fishy, fishy, want some food? There you go, fishies. I gave you some flakies. Yeah, yeah. Damn trolls. Damn trolls. But if that's the case, man, I'm 105. Sue says I'm 102. Well, close enough to the 105. And we both said that at the same fucking time. What happened to my troll buddy JT tonight? All right, so let's go ahead and show this timber that I'm talking about here. Oh, you fell asleep tonight? Yeah, we were supposed to do a panel tonight over on the other channel, but I said, fuck it, we need to do some snake stuff here, you know. So we'll do a panel another time. All right, here you go, buddy. let me zoom out a little. This snake right here. A lot of people, and when I say a lot, I'm being fucking serious, a lot of people deny that this phase of timber rattlesnake even exists. They will argue you to the fucking death on this snake. But as you see, that rattle right there is, you know, broken off. That was part of the fungal disease that done that to him. Hey, Bubba. And a nice belly shot of the timber rattlesnake. Yeah, he's not showing real well on this camera. I got you. But here's a Malaysian king cobra baby. Yeah, he's a pretty big timber. Now, the color didn't show good, so tomorrow night I'll stream from the other phone so you can get a better look at the colors. But he is what they call a chestnut phase. But this guy right here is a baby Malaysian king cobra right here. It's about a 6-month-old baby, roughly. So, but anyway, some people try to say it's just a yellow phase, but that's the fucking yellow phase. And then this guy here, let me put some light on him. This guy right here, you will know who he is. Whoop, whoop. What's up, Bubba? What up, dude? What you doing, Bubba? What's up, Bubba? How are you? You doing good, little dude? Huh? Yeah, you're doing good, little dude? All right. But anyway, folks, we'll take a quick fish look, and then after our fish look, we're going to call it a night. So let's turn some light over here to our fishies. Pretty little beta. Another pretty little beta. Another pretty little beta. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Squishy fishy. Squishy fishy. Here's another koi beta. Squishy, squishy. Here's squishy fishy. Squishy fishy fishy. Here's squishy fishy fishy. Oh, you want to see Jason? I'm going to show you Jason. Hold on. I'm getting there. I'm almost to him. Here's squishy fishy. What just tapped my head? It wasn't a snake, was it? No. Okay. Squishy fishy. Here's a squishy fishy. Here's a squishy fishy. Here's a squishy fishy. Here's a fishy fishy. Here's a fishy fishy fishy. And now, ready for Jay? Here's squishy fishy Jason. There's squishy fishy Jason. Come here, squishy fishy. Squishy fishy fishy fishy. Yep, he was at the end of the tour. And just for suspicion, right here is, what kind of snake is this dysfunction? What's this little princess? This little pretty guy? Huh? What's up, little dude? Are you a squishy fishy? Are you a squishy fishy fishy fishy? That is a sidewinder, absolutely. Sonoran Desert Sidewinder. Yep. Y'all are correct. Wonderful job. I think our newfound friend needs to see one of the female Insularises. Let's look at her real quick. Here, let me put the light up though so it gets good lighting. Squishy fishy. Squishy fishy. Oh wait. Here we go. What up, Casper? What up, Casper? What up, bro? What are you doing today, huh? What are you doing, Bubba? What are you doing, boy? Pretty little guy? What do you got going on? Huh? What do you got going on in there? Anything? Anything good? Huh? No, nothing good going on tonight? Huh? No? Okay. Let's go check out the squishy fishy. Oh, wait a second. I got to show you this rattlesnake. This rattlesnakey here. There you go. Do you know what this is? Dysfunction? Hell yeah. I talk to snakes more in a day than I talk to humans. I don't fucking like humans. Fuck humans. Little snaky. Yes, sir. She's another southwestern speck. Yes, sir. Let's see here. Oh, wait a second. Who do we got here? Whoop, whoop. Who's this, Sue? Who is this handsome little feller? Oh, no, they listen. Well, it is a timber, but what's his name? What's his name-o? It ain't Bingo. It is Rattlesnake Jake. It was Rattlesnake Jake. Lucille. Hey, Lucille. You taking a nap? What's up, Lula? Lula and Lucille. Okay. Who do we got over here? Who are you? Come on. I can't see you. Here, can I zoom in on you? What's up, Bethany? Yeah, Sue, I donated all but 3 of them to a college that's researching snake fungal disease. They specifically wanted snakes that have been treated, and they want to research them, and it is live research. It is not, they do not kill them. So I have donated them to the college. I have Rattlesnake Jake, I have Warlock, and I have this one left, and that's it. And of course, we have Miss fucking Attitude here. Let me open her up. Hey, Miss Attitude. Hey. What's up, pretty girl? Hey. Hey, pretty girl. Hey. Hi, pretty. Whoa, shit. Oh, shit. Don't fucking bite me. You just fucking relax, okay? I feed your ass. Don't fucking forget who feeds you, okay? You don't fucking forget that shit. I feed you and I won't fucking feed you. I promise. I will not feed your ass. You're not pretty enough to bite me. No, you're not. You're not pretty enough to get away with it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a pretty little girl. Look at you. Ah, pretty little snake. Ah, This snake right here is over 4 foot long. It's a very, very big blue insularis. Now, Bethany is a tangerine albino western diamondback. Anyway. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, girl. Now, look. You're going to have to act right now. Let me get your fucking lid on here. Okay. Now. Okay, there. Now. Now, can we get along, please? Do you mind if we get along for the rest of the night, girl? I hope you don't mind, because I would really love to get along with you. Yeah, I would really love to get along with you. Okay? All right. So anyhow, like I say, Dysfunction, tomorrow I will use a different camera. That way you can get a better look at the true colors of these animals. Because this camera fucking sucks. It's a $35 prepaid phone from Walmart that I picked up to use as a camera because I thought it would work. But, whoa, sorry, girl. But the colors suck. I'm sorry, girl. I didn't mean to scare you. Yeah, that damn blue girl, she's always calling my bluff. Always calling my fucking bluff. But she never actually strikes open mouth. Never does an open mouth strike. It's always bluffing. So, it's all right, big girl. It's okay. It's okay. See, I'm just putting your lid on. It's okay. It's all right. I promise you it's okay. I don't know if y'all will be able to see through this cage or not, but here's a little teeny tiny monocle cobra. Gosh darn it, Bubba. You are feisty. Okay. There we go. Okay. Whew. We got it. We fucking got it. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Now, let's see here. What's up, little snakes? You know what? Here. Let's see here. Hey, who are you? Hey, who are you? Who are you, little dude? Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha, Sir Clint Hissington. Ha ha. Yep, that's a new one. Yes, ma'am. Bob, where are you at, Bob? Bob, you didn't get out, did you, Bob? Where are you, Bob? Hey, Bob. Bob. Bob, can we talk about something, Bob? Hey. Hey, Bob. Hey, buddy. I want to talk about something, Bob. Hello, Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob, can we talk for a minute, Bubba? Can we talk for a minute, Bob? Come here, bud. Come here, bud. Hey, can we talk a minute? Please, can we talk just a minute, please, bud? Come here, let me talk to you a minute. Come here, Bubba. Hey, come here, Bob. It's okay, dude. It's all right, dude. Look, can we talk just a minute? Here, let's talk about something, Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob. Somebody wants to see you, Bob. Hey, Bob. Bob. Robert. Hey. Hey, Robert. But anyway, dysfunction. This is exactly like the one you see on my profile picture, but it is not the snake. The one that's on my profile picture was not this feisty. He was a nice cobra, but he would give you hood shows, but he never struck at you. This guy right here wants to kill me. This guy here wants me fucking dead. This guy wants me dead. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Huh, Bob? Just tell him the fucking truth, Bob. Tell him the truth, Bob. Yep, tell him the truth. Okay? You want to tell the truth or not? Or do you want to continue with your bold-faced lies? Huh, Bob? I thought we had a talk and we came to an agreement about some things. I thought we came to an agreement about it, Bob. Bob? Bob, why are you not talking to me? Bob? Hey. Why are you not talking to me tonight, dude? Huh? He's pretty, though. Yeah, as long as they're pretty, it don't matter if they want. Hell yeah, man. Yep. He is Bob the Builder because he likes to plow all his bedding up into a pile. He's a plower. He plow it into a pile. Plow to a pile. Hey, Bob. Robert. A little secret about this guy, though, dysfunction for real is Bob is blind. That's why Bob acts the way he does. He can see, see, there you go. Now you can kind of see the resemblance to my profile picture, but Bob can see shadows, like silhouettes, shadows, but he can't really see everything, even when it comes feeding time, he strikes at everything until he hits it. So Bob is fed frozen every single time. Yeah, it's because I have this light on, I got the light cranked up. This big old ring light. Yeah, Bob needs glasses for sure. Bob definitely needs glasses. Hey, Bob, let me see your nose, Bob. What are you doing? Oh, it's just dirty. Okay. Was you digging, Bob? Bob, were you plowing? Bob? Bob, I'm talking to you. Hey. Bob. Hello, sir. I'm talking to you. Hello, sir. Hello, Bob. Hey, Casper. You want to talk to me, Casper? Hey, Casper. Do you want to talk to me, sir? Kind sir, would you like to talk to me instead, Casper? Hello, Casper. Can we be friends, Casper? Whoop, whoop. Yeah, man, it's midnight here, so I'm fitting to get off of here too, bro. I guess we'll see you tomorrow if you come in. I'm going to do some more feeding tomorrow, different snakes tomorrow. So we'd definitely like to see you for sure. There you go. There's a nice majestic fucking hood for you before you go. Whoop, whoop. What's up, Hissington? What's up, Bubba? What's up, big tough cobra? Big cobra. Nice. Casper, you want to do it? You want to do it, Casper? No. No. Hey, Bob. Say hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. Bob still lives at home with this for jugglers and juggalettes. Don't try this at home. And I hope you like it. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. All right. We got to let this thing charge a few minutes, and then I got one last thing on the agenda before. So we're going to need about 5 minutes of charge time. And I hope all the other people come back in at least for those 5 minutes or so I can do the last thing I want to do. Or maybe I might end this one and start an E2 extra stream to do this last part. I think that's the way to go with this. Let me find the other horn. Where the fuck's my other horn at? What the fuck? Whoop, whoop. Oh, fuck. God dang it. My damn stream messed up. But we're good now. We for sure good now. Let's see here. Let's see right here. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Where are we at? We E2 extra. Here we go. What the fuck, Uber? There it is. No, you fucking cum belching road whore. Fuck. There we go. Go live. Let's go live, bitch. Come on, go live. 3, 2, 1. Blast off. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into the virtual Reptarium, and y'all have a good night. I am live on E2 Extra if you would like to come over there for some different content. We'll see you there. Thank you, Sue, as always.